In 1891, a courageous newspaper editor named John Jackson established the Lagos Weekly Record, which he used to attack the exploitative policies of the colonial government. John Jackson died in 1915, and his son, Horatio Jackson, took over the management of the newspaper and continued in his father's footsteps. In 1961, the Jackson School of Journalism was established in Nigeria and ran a 3-year degree program in only journalism, until it later evolved into the Department of Mass Communication during the 1970s. It now runs as a 4-year degree program with various aspects of mass communication covered in the curriculum. The founding father of the University of Nigeria Nsukka, late Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, also the doyen of West African journalism, spearheaded the idea to set up the Department of Mass Communication, bringing the dream for the formal educational training of would-be journalists to reality. Barely 2 years after its establishment, the Jackson College took a giant stride in the field of student journalism by launching the Records, a weekly newspaper which was to provide a training ground for student journalists to be properly groomed in the basics of journalism. The Record is now published once in a session by the final year students of the department as part of their curricular activities. Over the years, the Jackson School of Journalism, which was established in appreciation of the contributions of John Jackson, has produced graduates who has gone on to be experts in various aspects of mass communication and other sectors of the economy, thereby further cementing Jackson's legacy.
My name is Steve Chukwuka Obodo. I am one of the young fellows we have in the department. Uh, Young in the sense that I joined the department not up to 10 years ago. There are people who have been here longer than us, and most of them actually taught us in this department. I had my first degree here and master's and PhD in this department. Yes, I finished my first degree in 2007. In fact, this the same building, the same classrooms that you people are using now, we passed through them from first year to final year. Okay, only that that time we had a smaller number of the lecturers. It wasn't as large as it is right now that we joined. Okay, that time, and the number of students also were not this much. I don't know exactly who built the Jackson building, but if you look around, you could see this kind of building in some places. You see it in fine and applied arts. You see it mass com. You see the Robson building in the, and then see that of music. English used to have theirs somewhere around that economics building. English, you have such buildings around that were built by pioneer members of this university, people who started this university, and they were at that time. University education wasn't an easy thing or something that a lot of people want to do. So I guess that was why they built those small buildings, thinking that okay, there's few people that will want to come to just to start the university, and it was named after the Jackson family, okay, who are prominent and fiery journalists in their own time. That building you're looking at is as old as anything, as old as this country, because my father studied in that building. In fact, that was where in that house, in that building, where before this twin Faculty of Arts building, that was the building that housed the whole mass communication department, beginning from the lecturer staff offices, general head of department's office, general office, everything, studios, and classrooms, and postgraduate classrooms. That building. My father had an office in that building when he was teaching here. My father was a lecturer here too. That Professor Zia's office used to be his office before these twin buildings were built. And then that office that Dr. Celestine Geba stays in, he was the first person that occupied that office. So Jackson Building is a significant office, a significant building that we are all proud of. A lot of people that pass through here are proud of. Even as the building cannot contain a lot of people now, a lot of us, but I know it has produced people, a lot of people, great men around the society. My dad graduated in the 70s and he was retained. You know, Professor Abba was here, Professor Quellier, Professor Idemile. You know, these are people I could remember now that had offices in that building. You know, so there are men, great men, who had passed through this place, and you know, just like when you begin to look at the building, you begin to wonder where were all those offices, and what did they do? That studio you are seeing now, that wasn't how. It collapsed some adjoining walls to expand it. Otherwise, it used to be smaller, and they had offices. They had you know a kind of small office spaces they created inside those places, and some of those places served as library and so many other things.
One of the things that the Jackson building is known for is the Records newspaper, which was also produced as a typology of the Lagos Weekly Records of the Jackson family. It was a weekly publication in its early days, but has become a sessional production with its online version publishing news stories as often as possible.
We didn't meet it as a weekly publication. In fact, it's we met the dying part of it, you know. But during our time, they started. Professor Nairobi Okoro that time started annual Jackson lecture series, which he invited. I think the first person was Prince Tony Momo. So we were there. We were here then, and they decided they wanted to revive this thing to be at least let it be yearly. They always talk about, let's see if it can be coming out monthly. But the last Jackson annual series was delivered by Barrister Kingsley Osadolo, and when we went to for a courtesy visit at the Vice Chancellor's office, the Vice Chancellor remembered Kingsley. I think they were roommates or something. They lived in the same hostel or something. He remembered Kingsley, and they talked about the way they used to go around. He used to help Kingsley or follow Kingsley to go hunting for news, you know. So they go move around, hunt for news. And he was asking, why did he die? The Vice Chancellor, this present Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles Igwe. So he was asking, why are we not coming up, even if it is weekly, you know? But money, I know, is one of the major problem, but I know we can still solve that money issue. You know, money for printing and who buys. I think these days, who will be buying a hard copy newspaper when you can get everything online?
Speaking with current final year students of the Department of Mass Communication, we got to hear what prompted them to study in the Jackson building, their expectations and experiences so far.
My name is Ezenwa Perpetual Junwa.
Hi, my name is Janet Enemali Ojonugwa.
My name is Ezechidera Ernest.
My name is Bala Grace Danlaji.
My name is Chibo Modesta Amaka.
My name is Abu Chukudubem Ritz.
Alright, my name is Iboka Anita Chiamaka.
My name is Teresa Egbo.
My name is Amedi Francis Onyedika.
I've always wanted to study mass communication. How it started was I have this cousin, though she's a chartered accountant, but she was hosting a show at some point, and I just loved the charisma and the way she did it. And every time I watch kids shows, as at then when I was a child, or other shows like that, I got to see how people were, expressing themselves and doing a lot of interesting stuff. So it just inspired me, and when I began to understand myself and the things that I want to do in the future, I got to see that the skills that I will really need are the skills to speak and to write, and also it's something that I do already. I do it flawlessly, I do it effortlessly. So I just needed a place to get grounded, to get the skills, actual training for those skills. So yeah, mass comm was the place for me. And how I got to study mass comm, so I finished school in 2018, secondary school. I wrote JAMB while I was still writing my WAEC. So after I wrote the JAMB, when it was time to write UATME, I also did. And yeah, merit list, my name was on the list, and it was mass communication. So I'm here.
I left secondary school by 2017. I aspired for law into UNN, so came for the pre-CTME. After everything, I wasn't opportunity for the admission, so I had to write the second one. This time around, I invested my time, my energy, and everything just to make sure. But then I had to change from law to mass communication. So after everything, I was admitted into this school, and here I am. I don't think I missed out anything, because when I ventured into this mass communication, I learned that mass communication is really vast to my expectation when I was still in secondary school. So I don't really think I've missed out on anything. Mass communication is the best department I've been so far.
Okay, now that time we are jam by the way we desire school. We used to think that if you come to school, like the whole world, you have already gotten the whole world. My expectation were more, if I come to school, the way I will start speaking for all this stuff. But when I came, I noticed that life here is almost the same thing actually. Like people are living the normal life. The way we used to see people in school, that they are abnormal, not abnormal, extraordinary people actually. But came here, my expectation is to get first class actually. But it's fine. I don't know how things are going, because a lot of things happen. We are just hoping on God for something.
First of all, when I got admission, I was so excited. This almighty, I did, because it was like a dream. What is it called? A dream come true. It was like a dream come true. I was so excited that I'm going to study UNN, one of the best schools in Nigeria. Only for me to come here, but it's all good, sha. But my expectations were high, but I was kind of disappointed when I entered, sha. But that was just it.
Normally, when I entered the UNN, I know school life is actually stressful, so I expected the stress, and I mean, it wasn't any different when I got into school, because the whole stress of going to class, 7 a.m. classes, assignments, tests, like the whole stress. But that's why we're in school actually, to go through that stress, to become more educated and more knowledgeable in some certain aspects of life. So I think in a way I expected the stress, and I guess it was actually worth it to an extent.
It's been a ride. Let me be honest. It's been a ride from my first year up until now. Like every year for me has been eventful. I won't lie. Like one way or the other. Even during strike, even during Corona lockdown and everything. Every year for me here has been eventful. Understand? The shows, the concerts, the rallies, even election period here is fun actually.
I think it has been thrilling because I've been trying to balance my school life with my social life because I really, really like going out, traveling, doing something fun. But along the line, I noticed that I was lagging behind. Like trying to keep up with my social life, I was lagging behind in school, and I think that was bad because it affected my grades. So I had to, from my third year, I had to like try to sit up and put in more effort to help my grades in school. So I could say that it has taught me a lot. I've learned to be serious and with my school activities, and at the same time, I know how to balance it with my social life because I still get to travel and go out on weekends.
So since first year till final year, it's been different phases of life. So in my first year when I came, I was this person, I didn't like talking to anybody. I just planned to come to UNN, go through my school and graduate. I never said a word to any of my classmates. Like I remember that time I do mingle with other people in other departments more than I mingle with my own classmates. Those people that I was staying with in my first year, the hostel. So I was always following them, following my classmate from secondary school. She was in economics department. I did not even mingle with my department people. It was later on I started mingling with them because I mean you miss information if you don't do that. Yeah, so first year that was it. Second year I got to start understanding myself, understanding the kind of life I wanted to live here in school, and then my friends started changing too. So I got to start mingling with people that are going to the same way that I'm going to. I started at different parts of my life in school. I actually made friends that I needed at that time, people that were going where I am going. And third year was hard. Third year was the most difficult year for me in UNN because we had to do a lot of productions, a lot of group work, and most of the times I was, carrying my group members along. It was a struggle, always trying to gather people, and then the time was choked because we just came out from strike. Everything was just happening so fast, but then that was it. I was able to overcome that. I used to say, if I survive third year, nothing else can kill me. And then final year has been smooth. But then I think that right now I'm at a point where I used to be very bothered and worried about a lot of things before. But right now I've learned that what will be. Just give it your best and let every other thing play out. I don't bother about a lot of things anymore like I used to do in first year. But I think that one of the things I'm also learning in final year is don't restrict yourself. Yes, some people I'm the kind of person that I'm very focused. If I want to do something, I'm going to make sure I do that stuff. But I've got to see that there are people who they are focused as well, but they got to live, they got to experience other things, especially business, career parts. That's what I'm talking about. And in place of trying to focus on school, I most likely missed out on that part. So I'm thinking I'm learning to actually balance school with other things.
I also engage in businesses like when we're on break, I go and then take care of my business. I'm an interior decorator. Most people don't know that, but I do enlighten some persons and tell them about my business.
I have a mini business. Yeah, I've not really settled on it, but I major in music. So after school, I'm trying to take it to the next level.
I work closely with a fashion brand, Tegit. It's a Nigerian streetwear fashion brand. I work with them. I just really love fashion. Fashion is something I'm passionate about.
I went into bakery business. Food is something that can never be underrated. No matter, even if in any sector you are, food is something important. So I was thinking, what will I do in school that I'll be fetching money, that can fetch me money, not actually for my school fees, but so many things I can be helping my parents with. And I know that because I can do baking, all these buns, buff, and also a lot of this, I started doing it. And at first it was not easy because trying to combine it with so many, my academics and my church activities. But I started doing it, I was getting money, and that money now made me to desire it.
I'm a content creator and I'm a video editor. I create content and I edit video as well.
I'm a nail technician, I'm a nail artist. Balancing it with school is not really easy because most of the times a client will come, I want to do my nails in so time, and within that period of time is when I will have class. So instead of leaving instead of coming to class and leaving the client is actually a good amount of money. I'll just be like, I don't know, maybe I don't know if I will leave class and come for this. Do you understand? Most of the time I'll just be like, okay, let me just leave. Since school is the main thing that I came for, let me just come for school and leave this thing. So it has really been crazy and all that.
Apart from these businesses, we have some other final year students in the Jackson building who are practicing various aspects of mass communication even as students.
Alright, my name is Claire Ijoma Ogochukwu. My area of interest is journalism and public relations. The core is journalism. I love journalism. Everything journalism, I love it so much. So much. Anything news story, count me in. Talking about skills, it's in two ways. The major skills I learned was when we were sent to go for IT. So my two IT experiences, that's IT by industrial training, I mean, those two experiences really helped a lot in shaping my knowledge and then my perception of journalism and mass communication. And then the other skills I learned, like magazine production, newspaper production, all of those came as a result of maybe the practicals, the assignments we were given, and then every other thing, just group works, where we had to plot dummies, where we had to do our magazine, where we had to fix a price, source for advertisements, where we had to practice a little of PR. Just basically group works exposed me to a lot, and then we really learned how to talk, how to present, how to communicate in the public. So I would say I've learned a lot. Yeah. Currently, I am really practicing journalism. I write news stories for Crips, Nigeria. I write news stories for Daily Info. And then once in a while, I write for Vanguard. Just when I'm called, say, okay, Claire, something is happening around. Can you help us cover this? Because I did my internship there. And that's basically where I write for. And then any other write-up I do is basically maybe class-related write-up, the records, UNN, or I'm trying to edit somebody's news story. And then for PR, I've not really ventured. I've just worked alongside with someone who has a PR firm to just do some brain work, creative thinking, and all of that. But I've done so much more in journalism. Blending journalism with mass communication is really not easy. For example, Crips FM requires that I write at least 3 news stories in a month. So in a week, sorry. And sometimes Daily Info will tell me you must cover a story in UNN. And then I'm having assignments to do. I'm having group meetings, group work, tests, exams, all choked up alongside other activities I do in school. So I've not been able to maximize these skills as much as I want to. But nonetheless, I've just learned to work under pressure. I've learned to mix, multitask, and all of that. And I'm sure that I will do so much better once I drop my pen finally. That's after the fence.
My name is Nsukka Loretta. My area of interest is advertising and public relations, but mainly advertising. I do a bit of copywriting here and there. Once I come to school, I drop it. I have this fear that I don't know how to balance things properly. It's one of my greatest flaws. I feel that if I combine school with work, I would end up giving either work more attention or school more attention. So once I'm in school, I focus on school. But during the holidays, I actually work. I have a company I work for where I did my IT. I often go back and work with them. There's a lot of money in advertising, for those who don't know. And it's something that I have great interest in because it allows me to be creative and still use my brain at the same time. So I plan to further in it. And
I'm Oladele Precious, Alami Kwasi. Working with Lion FM, you have a morning show to run, sometimes afternoon show, and then you have lectures, the same time. So you have to just choose one. At times, you would have to come to class, take attendance, and leave, to be there. So it's been very, very hectic, but I realized that actually it's been a wonderful experience for me because what you have been taught over there in class, you get to practicalize it out there in the studio, and it's cool. I love it. After a year, I plan to go for internship. Go for internship in a PR firm, and then after then go for service, and then go back to the industry.
Some graduates of mass communication shared their experience of the life outside school and how the lessons learned in the Jackson building has been a springboard in their practice.
My name is Emmanuel Ejofo, and I graduated from Mass Communication Department, University of Nigeria, Nsukka. And I graduated in 2023, April 2023 to be exact. When I was in first year and second year, I couldn't wait to get to that 300 level so that I could join the real Jacksonite in Jacksonite. So when I finally got there, I felt like I had finally arrived in mass communication. And yeah, the experience I got, like the experience over the 3 years I spent in that block, was thrilling. It had its own high points and also had its own low points, and there were experiences of a lifetime. That it's something that you cannot witness again, and I enjoyed every stay of it. I cannot the skill of research, and that research is still paying off. It's still paying off even till today. During the third year when we are introduced to mass comm research, immediately we were introduced to that course. I was fascinated by research. I saw that this is the place, this is the thing I want to do. And since then I started reading up books, trying to follow up on the classes. And luckily enough for me, Dr. Jiro was my supervisor, and Dr. Jiro was the lecturer. I liked the way she did a literature review, especially, and being her supervisor, I got a lot of knowledge, a lot of skills from her. She exposed me to how to do literature review, and that was even what helped me, in writing my research projects. And even recently we co-authored a conference paper. Without those research skills, I wouldn't have gotten to that point. I also garnered the skill of resilience, right? When I was in mass comm department, I always felt that the stress was so much, but when I came out of the real world, I saw those stress we are subjected to. I saw them paying off in the real world. For instance, I just finished my camping service, and while people were complaining of the stress, I was like, I'm not used to this. Mass comm department, the stress and all was so much that sometimes I almost felt like giving up. So the camping experience was not new to me, and even apart from that, there have been situations when I faced stress that I felt that those stress were subjected to in the department during my stay in here, and those stress helped me get. So that's another skill I'm grateful for. Research skills, they are still paying off today, and till today. I co-authored the conference paper with my supervisor, then Dr. Jiro, and recently I also emerged the finalist again for the Visadoka Challenge essay. Last year I took 8, but this year I improved. I got to 5th. So you could see that, and one of the things that helped me in writing that essay to be as good as it was the literature review skills I garnered over the years, especially from my supervisor. So if I didn't learn those research skills from her, I don't think I would have gotten to this level. So I owe it to her, and I owe it to every lecturer or students that anybody that helped me, in terms of when I was trying to learn research.
Personally, for me, I basically chose to study mass communication just because I wanted to be a better communicator, right? Growing up, I was the very silent kind of guy, right? So I specifically chose mass communication to do that, right? So along the line, right, in the course of my journey, I realized that I've become a more effective communicator, right? So I say what I want, exactly how I want to say it, and then how people will understand it the way I said it. So graduating from here really gave me a lot of perspective about how communication should be treated, and that helped me personally. I'm a partnership developer, right? So for corporate businesses who are looking for partnership or sponsorship, right, I'm just basically involved in crafting messages and then reaching out to potential partners or sponsors, right? That alone requires a lot of communication skills, because no matter the value that your company has, right, if you are not even if you cannot properly communicate it to these people, right, then you are not doing something well. Somebody might not be doing as great as your company, but because he's able to actually communicate things to these people, he will get more deals better than you, right? Then also as a personally, just talking with people, interacting with people, that's one way that like I said before, I wanted to become a effective communicator. I mean, that's happened for me. So that's it.
It is evident that many students who graduate from the Jackson Building learn a lot of skills that are helpful to them after school. The Jackson Building has continued to produce people of caliber who are ready to change the world and make a difference. The life of a Jacksonite. It starts from the day you step into the Jackson Building and continues long after you graduate.